Tag TV, and Tag Radio. Technology now has a voice of innovation and information. Get it on www.tagtvonline.com. Your technology association is growing larger and doing more every day. The historic record-breaking attendance and all-star lineup of speakers at the recent 2009 Georgia Technology Summit. New special interest societies now totaling over 20, covering nearly every technology vertical of interest imaginable. Membership is up. Applications for the annual business launch competition are up. A new focus on government affairs that covers not just the state capitol, but goes all the way to Washington, D.C. and beyond. Greetings, everyone. It's Tuesday, March 24th, and this is Tech Talk with Technology Association of Georgia President Tino Mantella. I'm your guest host, Frank Baia. Today's Tech Talk is all about the Technology Association of Georgia, TAG, as we speak with Tino about TAG in the news and his recent trip to Washington, to the new TAG Education Initiative, GTS, to the upcoming business launch competition, and the Excalibur Awards. It's a Tech Talk about TAG as we speak with our association president, Tino Mantella. Well, Tino, it's always a great opportunity to chat a little bit and go over some of the things that are happening at TAG. And, of course, it's been a very, very busy first quarter. Lots going on. Let's start maybe with a little bit about where you've been just lately. I know you were up in Washington. Maybe give us a little insight as to what was happening there.
Well, we took a trip to D.C. Along with what's known as TECNA, Technology Councils of North America. We're part of an affiliated group of 40 tech councils from all over the United States and Canada. Mm-hmm. And we meet a couple times a year to share best practices. And the spring event is always tied into a fly-in to D.C. So we spent Wednesday in D.C. I brought Kaylin Sewell, our Director of Government Relations, along with me, and we spent the day visiting with our senators and congressmen and talking about some of the issues on the federal level. As you know, TAG has gotten fairly active in being a voice for technology at the state level, and it's just a natural extension to be doing some of those activities at the federal level as well. So it was good. We visited with a number of the representatives, number of the aides for the senators and the congressmen. It's a pretty busy time for them.
Sure.
So it's hard to get in to see them all the time. But we had a very full day, and it was good to be representing the technology community and talking with our leaders.
Well, I guess it's a continuing indication of the importance that technology is playing across the board, business, economic development, and even government situations now. Let's talk a little bit about upcoming events. Well, I guess it would be remiss not to talk about a past event, and that's the GTS, the Georgia Technology Summit. Everybody knows it was a smashing success, largest attended in the history of any event, I think, in TAG. But also, I understand a lot of great comments still coming in.
Good feedback. We're very pleased with the feedback that we are getting. Over 1,000 people attended. And I think the things that stood out for our participants were the quality of speakers, from Friedman to Ron Clark to Heinzelman to Wayne Clough receiving the award. It was just a full-packed day of activity, and people gave us some very positive feedback. The top 40 and the top 10, as always, seems to be a central part of the event, and I'm told by our, again, attendees, it seemed that way to me, that we had a great lineup of the top 10 who all did a very good job representing Georgia and their companies to talk about their innovations.
Packed house, packed agenda. Boy, I'll tell you what, it was really exciting, and it was a lot of networking going on, a lot of good face-to-face contact, and people getting an opportunity to pitch business and talk about what's going on. One of the events that's happening right now is the Georgia Research Alliance business launch competition. I understand something like 60, 70 applications, and you guys are now down to the picking and selecting process. 40 have been selected.
Yeah, we have. Well, we still have 70 in the competition. 40 of the companies have mentors, which is the largest mentoring group that we've had to date. This is our fourth year, and we just finished just wrapping up the Fast Forward to Launch, which you help us with, and I think our people will be excited to go online and vote for their favorite 1-minute pitch from those companies. So
it's a lot of that's a lot of fun. It's just a lot of innovation, a lot of creativity, and a lot of passion. And I do thanks for commenting on that. We invite everybody that's listening to be sure to come online. We'll be announcing exactly when we launch the voting aspect of that. But what happens is we do a minute on each one of the applicants, and they put on a real kind of hard sell, passionate, or in some cases pretty funny or creative pitch to get you to have interest and then place a vote for them. And then the winner of that is actually gets an opportunity to get a second look as far as the judges are concerned for the competition. But please go ahead.
Yeah, no, you're right. And last year I think we had over 13,000 unique visitors to the site. So
right,
it's a little bit American Idol-like, and I'm hoping that we have a bigger group coming in and voting this year.
And again, the process is the 70 applicants. There's judging going on, as you point out. There's mentors. I think we would be remiss not to comment the fact that there's about $100,000 in cash and a couple of $100,000 of services. Where are you guys at with all that?
Well, it's a very nice package. This is, as I said, our fourth year, and one of the things that we feel very proud of is the first three companies that have won are A, all still in business, and B, in the last 6 months have all gotten funding. So we're very pleased about that, and we're confident that this will be the fourth year. But what happens in the competition specifically, for those that are interested, we go through a process. So we start with the 70. We narrow it down to a semifinal round, which will vary anywhere from 10 to 15 companies, and we have a group of great semifinal judges that will interview all those companies and select the final four, and the final four will take place on June 3rd at IBM, and people are welcome to come to that event. Last year we had a full house, and they'll get to hear the final four presenters.
And actually see the winner selected and the check awarded.
Exactly, and we bring in judges from all over the country for this. We have 3 of the top VC firms participating again. So it's really a great competition, and we look forward to taking another one through. But it's not, as you know, Frank, it's not just about the winning company, because we think that anybody that participates in this and then puts a business plan in, maybe they're tightening up their business plan, they need some support from a mentor, they really need some support to get to that next level, and we're hoping that it's not just about the one that receives $100,000 and $200,000 in services.
No, absolutely, and it gets bigger every year, and I think, as you point out, the success rate is getting to be almost anticipated as far as the winners are concerned, and many of the people that don't win are still in business and are successful. Great ideas. You mentioned IBM. I know there's a program now online. Maybe comment on that real quick. I want to get into a couple of things, societies and maybe even membership, and at the end we can talk a little bit about Excalibur. I mean, there's so much going on that it really is hard to cover in the brief time that we've got. But you mentioned IBM. I know for the GRA business launch actual award ceremony, but tell us a little bit about the program that IBM is running online.
One of the things that TAG is doing is they're extending their reach. We have been certainly located in Midtown since I've been here for 4 years, and we've grown the staff from 3 to 10 in that time. But we're still a small group for 6,200 members and having statewide responsibility. So we've typically focused on the metropolitan Atlanta area, since 125,000 of the 180 technologists are in this area. But that doesn't mean there aren't a lot of things that are great happening at other parts of the state. So we want to extend our reach, and also given that people are very busy now, that they may not always be able to come to our society meetings, even though the numbers are up about 25% in terms of attendance over previous year. We are starting an online program, and the first launch of that program is a partnership with IBM, and we've developed a package called the Bumpy Road Series. and talks about the economy today. And we have a half a dozen programs lined up, so people can find those on the site, very reasonably priced. And so for purposes of efficiency and convenience for our members and also our people that are stakeholders in technology in this state and could be anywhere around the world, they can pick up on this online programming and participate in that for very reasonable prices.
Well, you touched upon the societies. Let's talk a little bit about that. I know that not only are they the number of them growing, but as you point out, attendance is up a tremendous amount. We're even being able to capture some of that content and put it up on TAG TV.
Yeah, which is great. I mean, TAG TV is, again, another extension where people, if they missed the event, can go on the site and watch some really quality programs. I think you just filmed one on health that was very popular in terms of attendance that was there. But as you know, we have 22 different societies, and for all of our listeners, anybody can come out and participate in societies. Each society is run by a board, and we staff each of those societies, so we support them. And their goal is to drive quality content so that people can exchange knowledge, participate in best practices, and, of course, network. And we've been growing slowly in terms of the societies as well. So one of our newest ones on deck right now, and it was interesting because it was covered at the summit, is something called Smart Grid that GE Energy is helping to put together, and a number of companies that are focused on how to create efficiencies and move our system of electricity and power from I think most people refer to it as just a dumb system. It provides the power. We take it for granted, but all over the United States, just about everywhere has power, but it's not using the efficiencies in terms of output and how to drive that forward. So this is a society that's going to focus on that, and groups like GE and IBM and Google and Georgia Tech's research leaders are all participating in that. So we're looking forward to that one. But the societies are going great. We're averaging, as I said, quite a bit higher numbers at each event. In fact, we've moved from about 50 people per meeting to about 62 people per meeting, which is significant when you consider all the meetings that we have.
Well, and I think these are really extremely vertical, subject matter industry verticals, and so it's a great opportunity to meet people that are in your business as well as to network and to make contacts for new business. And obviously, every one of those meetings, it's always one more subject that's right on the edge, something new or that's going on as far as that industry is concerned. So the obvious is that any of the listeners who want to find out more about societies, just go to tagonline.org and scroll the navigation and look for societies, and it'll drop down and give you the information about the 22 that you can pick from. And, of course, they've got meetings and agendas and all kinds of information up there, so you can catch up and find out how you might want to join one or attend one of those meetings. Let's talk a little bit about membership in general. Things are continuing to grow in that area as well. You mentioned a number of over 6,000. I know that continues to expand.
Yeah, if we were talking 2 years ago, our listeners would have heard that we were at about 1,400, so the growth has been that's tremendous in the last 2 years, and I think it's reflective of the kinds of things that our societies are doing and our board has participated in, and the big events, and people's interest in plugging in today is probably heightened with the economy. We're still growing. I think we're slowing down a little bit just in respect to some of the big companies that have to make their decisions in terms of economics, and we unfortunately may not be at the very top of the list, although our pitch for those that are listening in terms of companies of any size is that for very reasonable rates you can have everybody in your company participate. I like to use the example of you could fly 2 or 3 people for training out to California for 3 days, or you can buy a TAG membership and it covers every employee in your organization for an entire year. So most people, when they hear it and they think about it, it becomes a no-brainer in terms of how to show their employees that they still care, that there's still a benefit there. They want them to stay plugged in and continue to learn. And even if there is less money to be spent, then TAG would be a good place to put those dollars, a good investment.
Well, I can't, at the risk of sounding a little self-serving, I can't think of a better investment. TAG is such a grand utility in the sense that it's really what you make of it, and there's so much opportunity to network, to learn, and it's efficient. The things that are happening here. They're happening in your industry, sometimes specifically, like we talked about with SIGs, sometimes more generally, SIGs meaning societies, and sometimes more generally at these large, actually now getting to be premier events, the Georgia Technology Summit, the Business Launch Competition. We've got another big one coming up, the Excalibur Awards. You might just want to comment a little bit about that.
Yeah, we're busy thinking now about the fall, and we have our September Tag It Golf Tournament, and then we have following that our October 23rd Excalibur Awards. And whereas the summit recognized the top 40 innovative technology companies, the Excalibur Awards recognizes companies from our state that are utilizing technology to differentiate their business and create competitive advantage. So this is a great opportunity for a non-technology company or a tech-enabled company to show off what they're doing and how they're using their technology. It's also a good place for technology companies to recognize and nominate a company that's using their technology to differentiate their business. So it's something for everybody to participate in. And last year, as you know, Frank, we had Pam Pure there from McKesson and a full house at the hotel, and we're looking to replicate that again this year.
You might want to emphasize that comment you just made, though, Tino, about nominating companies. It is a recognition. I don't want to say competition, but a recognition of companies that are using technology for a competitive advantage, and it's open to any nomination. You've got 3 or 4 classifications: large, small, medium, large, medium, and small, and most creative, I think, is the 4th category. But maybe go into just a brief input as to how you nominate.
Well, you can just go online, and there's a nomination form, or contact us at 404-817-3333, and we'll provide you with a nomination form. But it's very simple. Basically, if a company lets us know that there's let's say it's a technology company, and they want to tell us about one or more of their companies that they feel are doing a great job utilizing their technology to drive business, then we'll take it from there. And basically what we do then is notify the company they've been nominated and who's nominated them, which is a plus for companies that nominate. And then it's up to that company, and sometimes the nominating company assists, to fill out a pretty simple application, which is online, and submit it. And then we have a group of judges that will review those and narrow down the field, and then we end up bringing in 12 companies that are finalists, 3 in each category, and then we announce the winners in those 4 categories that you mentioned at the event.
You know, it's probably not a bad idea for us to consider doing this more often. With so many things going on, I don't know if anyone could really keep up with everything, although tagonline.org is a great location. You've got blogs, and you've got postings of public relations releases and notices of meetings, and I know myself, I've got it bookmarked. I almost go once a day at least, and sometimes more than that, just to try to keep up with all the great information that's on the homepage. One last comment, I guess, is maybe covered real briefly as we end today's program, a little bit about TECH, the TAG Education Collaborative. I understand that's really starting to get some traction.
Well, we've had a foundation since almost the beginning of TAG in 1999, and the idea was to have a charitable arm of the organization that gives back something to the community. Certainly TAG gives back something to the community, but this relates to getting kids excited about math, science, technology, and engineering. And this past year, we've decided to ratchet it up a few notches. We've built the baseline, if you will, for TAG, and it's coming along strong. So we felt like we're in a better position to make an investment in the charitable organization. And one of the first things we did, 2 major things to point out is we hired an executive director, full-time executive director, and part of that position is paid for through membership and events, and then also the organization raises money on its own to support its operation. And then the second thing we did is we looked at the name, and the foundation was a bit misleading because we're not in a position where we're giving out money to other organizations. In fact, we want to take a leadership role in experiential learning for kids from K through 12, with the idea that if we can excite them about math, science, technology, and engineering, the measure of our success will be those graduating high school seniors that go on to college, either 2-year or 4-year, and complete a degree in STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math, one of those areas of discipline, and then hopefully go on to a career in that area. And this is all based on the shortage that America has today in that area, and less people are going into it. More people are retiring. Engineers, for example, Lockheed, we heard the statistic that about 35% of Lockheed's employees that are engineers will be retiring in the next 5 years. So where are those people going to come from? And we need to do our part in terms of helping to ready the workforce for the kinds of jobs that are out there. And so TAG Education Collaborative is meant to do that, and that we're currently building a board. We're participating in some strategic activities to sharpen our focus on where we want to go in the next 3 to 5 years. And we're excited about it. We've got some traction, as you mentioned, and over the next 3 to 5 years, we expect to have an impact on the community.
Pretty amazing when you think about 4 years ago and what TAG was involved in or barely involved in, and now it's a case from whether it's Washington, D.C. and the business launch, the societies, membership growing, events expanding and getting bigger every year. Now we've got the new collaborative. Really, cheers to you, Tino. Things are really doing well, and it's obvious that it's all part to do with its membership and the contributing efforts of that membership, but it also has a lot to do with its leadership, and I think a lot of people would agree with me when I say you're doing a great job. Tino, thanks. We got a grand opportunity to catch up on things, and we invite everybody to come to Tech Talk every week, once a week on Tuesdays. Tino usually is involved in interviewing a top CEO, CIO, or a community or thought leader, and it's a pretty good, almost news program in terms of keeping up with a lot of current events. And every once in a while, we get an opportunity to talk to Tino. Right. So, Tino, thanks for joining us on Tech Talk.
Thanks for having me.
Bye.